Take care, lest your protests become tiresome. I have asked for so little. Anyone would think that I had asked you to sacrifice yourselves and your sons. And yet, in Slaanesh's boundless and pleasing mercy, I have asked only for your daughters. Surely you would not deny me my small enjoyments. Greetings, listeners, and welcome to Omnissiah Approved. Today we are delving back into the realm of chaos to examine a darker sense of pleasure. Slaanesh, great god of passion, desire, perfection, and indeed hedonism, is perhaps the most outwardly understandable of the chaos powers that man would choose to worship. Slaanesh is the youngest of the four major chaos gods, having only come to full sentience during the late 30th millennium. While generally referred to as he by humans and as a female by the Eldari, Slaanesh is actually neither gender, combining characteristics of both and perfecting them. Slaanesh typically appears in an androgynous form, in which it is a woman on the right side and a man on the left. He also sports two sets of devilish horns growing from its head. Slaanesh can assume any physical form, male, female, both when the occasion suits it, but it prefers male bodies the most. Slaanesh's sacred number is 6, and the colors most often associated with the god are purple, pink, and black. Though this is not my area of expertise, it is my understanding that the name Slaanesh is a corruption of the Eldari term Slaaneth, Sla meaning ecstasy or pleasure, and Neth being lord or prince. Though, ironically, the Eldari refer to this foul entity only as Sa-Lathresh, she who thirsts. Before we take a look at the demons and followers of Slaanesh, it is important to know her origin. Unlike Khorne, Nurgle, and Tzeentch, whose origins are more abstract, taking place over countless millennia, we do know the exact time that Slaanesh was birthed, and to whom we owe thanks for such a terrible gift. Slaanesh was given life by the immortality and hubris of the ancient Eldari Empire. As their empire reached its zenith, the Eldari became lost in their own decadence, for they experienced sensation and emotion at a far greater degree than any other intelligent species within the galaxy. The capabilities of their highly advanced technology meant that the Eldari did not need to labor or wage war. Instead, they were able to dedicate their lives to whatever idle pursuits took their fancy. Over several generations, this indolence came to rule and pervert their spirits. However, in the Materium, the collective psychic reflections of their indolence and immoral hedonism caused a new chaos power to stir. Beginning in the 25th millennium of the Terran calendar, created by one species' pure dedication to indolence and excess, the first motes of what would become Slaanesh began to coalesce. The dormant Slaanesh fed upon the unchecked collective psyche of the Eldari, drawing on their lusts and ambitions, their artistry and pursuit of excellence in all things. In turn, as Slaanesh grew, its nascent dreams trickled into the mind of the Eldari and fueled their desires, pushing them ever onwards towards their eventual doom. We will look at the fall of the Eldari in detail at a later date, but for now, it is enough to say that their unchecked expansion into hedonism and excess are what gave birth to the god Slaanesh. Slaanesh's birthday was heralded by a great rumbling of psychic energy throughout the galaxy, and a new tear in reality forming. As Slaanesh's birth feast ripped through the galaxy, the vast majority of the Eldari were destroyed, along with a majority of their gods as well.
Can we play with him, Master? He seems so unhappy. Let us help him smile, please. Or at least, let us carve one on his face when he stops screaming.
The demons of Slaanesh are as repulsive as they are beguiling, possessing some elements of the perverse and unnatural beauty of their master, a beauty that provokes loathing and desire in equal measure. Their very presence evokes a tide of sensuality strong enough to drown a living soul, while their seductive promises can enslave even the stoutest hearts. The most common demon in service to Slaanesh are the Demonettes, known as the Maidens of Ecstasy. These lesser demons' seductive bodies are startling contrast to their grotesque claws. They are lightning quick and fearful foes in hand-to-hand combat. They serve as courtiers and courtesans in the Palace of Pleasure, created to fulfill Slaanesh's every passing whim. They fill Slaanesh's throne room, lounging upon silken cushions, gossiping endlessly as they scheme to earn greater favor from their willful master. They also serve as their master's warriors and messengers beyond his realm, often leading cohorts of frolicking demonettes are the Seekers of Slaanesh. Seekers of Slaanesh form the vanguard of the Dark Prince's Legion, demonettes who ride ahead on the disturbingly graceful demonic mounts known as the Steeds of Slaanesh. The Steeds of Slaanesh themselves are lithe, bipedal, smooth-skinned creatures with prehensile tongues vaguely resembling seahorses. Their heads have long, tubular snouts that contain their long, poisonous tongue. Steeds of Slaanesh represent the favored means of transportation for Slaanesh's mortal chosen as well. Next, I would like to examine the Fiend of Slaanesh. A Fiend of Slaanesh is a bizarre demon, appearing as an unholy mixture of creatures, chimerical beings from warp-induced nightmares given physical shape. These hybrid creatures combine reptilian, insectoid, and anthropomorphic characteristics. It has a segmented body, a tail covered in fine scales, and 2 pairs of humanoid legs that end in cloven hooves. Each fiend also has a pair of claw-tipped, gangly arms that it commonly uses as front legs. Fiends usually lack the intelligence to use these arms as grasping appendages in the pursuit of holding greater weapons. However, they themselves are often used as weapons to great and devastating effect. And finally we come to Slaanesh's generals on the battlefield. Second only to the risen mortals of Slaanesh's demon princes are the Keepers of Secrets. These are mighty greater demons, huge and indescribable creatures whose very presence is capable of bringing the bravest warrior to his knees in anguish and ecstasy. They are the closest companions and servants of the Lord of Excess, and they typically are found with 4 arms, 2 of which end with human-like hands, and 2 tipped with large crab-like claws, decorated with brightly colored lacquers. A Keeper of Secrets is a very powerful foe in close combat, not only because of their martial prowess, but because of their ability to distract, beguile, and deceive those whom they are fighting. And now, dearest listeners, it is with great pleasure that I bring this installment to a close. I hope you found it revealing and educational. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like, subscribe if you would like to see more, and if you would really like to assist us, check out our Patreon campaign. The link is in the description. But until next time, as always, this broadcast has been Omnisaya approved. Thank you for listening.